Welcome to our presentation about digital transformation and IoT driving edge applications. The agenda for today, you can see on the screen, is going to walk you through the different opportunities that you see in the market that are arising from digital transformation, from IoT, more specifically at the edge, the challenges associated, how our products come into play for you, the partners, as you're trying to win these projects, and the opportunities that we're seeing. Lastly, we'll give you a short glimpse into one of our flagship products that you can see at the edge. And we'll finish off with a quick summary and your calls to actions. So the speakers for today, myself, I'm Oliver Durick, based out of Singapore, and I've been with Schneider Electric since 2018. My colleague Kieran will talk to you a bit later about our offers and the applications at the edge. So the first thing that I will talk to you today is digital transformation. You have heard about it, I'm sure, several times, and I'm just going to give you a quick introduction and definition of what digital transformation is and how it applies to your business and the opportunities that you're seeing in the market. Digital transformation itself means the integration of digital technology that will have an impact on operations. And it will also impact the customer experience in a way that is very modern and innovative. So what are the different pillars at the projects that are happening with customers? So the first one is on how a customer is engaging with their clients. So that can be through a new technology that you're using to communicate. It can be through different marketing means, such as social selling or digital marketing. It's a very different way to engage with customers and much, much more modern. You are also thinking about how, as a customer, how you're empowering your employees. That can be through new tools that they're provided with. That can be through the integration of collaboration tools that makes employees more efficient. And especially nowadays, during the health crisis, collaboration tools and the digitization behind that has accelerated as customers are looking for ways to make their employees, as they're working remotely, more productive and also efficient in their tasks. At the same time, optimizing operations is very key. When you think about the supply chain, when you think about inventory, using digital transformation and the tools behind it will allow you, the customers, to increase the efficiencies and have a higher level of productivity for the employees. When it comes to products, digital transformation will also allow the customers transform their products in a way that allows them to sell more and also be more efficient. Think of how retailers are selling their products when you go into a supermarket and you will see self-serving checkouts, and that the whole experience in a retailer is changing in a way that customers can be even more happier choosing and purchasing the products at that particular retail chain. So what does it mean for the partners in terms of solutions? So the first one is, of course, modern workplaces. Partners can come in and provide the solutions that customers need for collaboration. And for example, the integration of such suites as or CRM or Office 365 or Google products that allow the employees to be more efficient and more productive in their work when they're perhaps not even based at the office anymore. Business applications also play a role in how it impacts operations, how it impacts people operations, how it impacts your supply chain. There are different solutions that are available that allow customers to embark on that journey as part of digital transformation. Applications infrastructure. So when you think about the applications that are being deployed and the data that these applications are drawing upon to help perhaps change the customer experience and help to reduce the time in the supply chain can obviously have quite an impact on a company. And lastly, but not least importantly, data and AI. Something that many customers have in common is that they have been collecting data over the last few years. Now with the new solutions that are available, customers are able to deploy very intelligent solutions at the edge. You can call it the intelligent edge, because these services that were previously only available in the cloud, you will now find at the edge that have a specific purpose to analyze the data and provide insights into the operations of a customer's business. So that is a quick overview about digital transformation. From here, we will talk to you about the different examples, the verticals, and what it means for the partners in much more detail. When we talk about the edge, and especially the edge as it applies to the Schneider APC business, we often talk about the local edge. The local edge is the environment that you will see, especially when it comes to mid-market, larger SMB, and enterprise customers, where the data now is being collected, where it's being created. And there's not always a need to have that data stored and sent to the cloud for different reasons. It could be because of bandwidth, it could be because of the delays that are potentially possible with the speed and connection to the cloud, but also the cost associated with sending and storing all of that data in the cloud. And not always is that data really necessary to be stored in the cloud, but a lot of the decision making is happening where the data is actually being created. And this is what we call the local edge, as it applies to larger companies and even some of the SMB companies that are deploying solutions to store, analyze the data, and then decide their next action based on the data that they have collected. The local edge can still be connected to the regional edge, to the centralized cloud, to provide different solutions and insights into the data that has been analyzed. So as you move on from the different edge solutions, we can talk to you about that edge is already here today. It's not something that is going to happen in the future, but you will see many of the articles in the technology section talking about how edge is going to grow even further in 2020 and how there are new opportunities for partners and for customers as they're starting to collect and analyze that data. And more recently, we've even seen an acceleration of distributed IT or edge deployments in the current health crisis. So when you think about edge, there is a very obvious overlap and connection to IoT. Why is that? So what happens with the Internet of Things? Those are, in many cases, sensors that get deployed in a customer environment. And these sensors are collecting a lot of data. That can be environmental data, for example, that is just monitoring your temperature or your light. But it can also be about customer traffic. How many people are visiting a certain place at a specific time of day? When you think about retail, how well are promotions working, and are more people visiting a specific store because of a promotion? All this data is being collected. But while that is being collected, it is much more important to gain insights into that data and understand if something is working, how specific machines in manufacturing are working, and if there's anything that a customer needs to be aware of. So all of that data that is being collected by IoT, and we're talking about large amounts that need to be then analyzed. So far, these solutions had perhaps not been available, but now, as more companies are developing solutions on the analysis of the data that is being created by IoT, you will now see these solutions being deployed in edge environments in different verticals, such as healthcare or in manufacturing or in retail or in finance, that are making it much more efficient for customers to deploy these IoT solutions. So when you look at the different verticals that I've just mentioned, which ones are the ones that are providing perhaps the largest opportunity to the partners? You've heard about the industrial edge that you will find in such environments such as oil and gas, manufacturing, marine. There are really a lot of different verticals where you will see IoT deployments. In this data, we can see that from 2018 to 2023, there is still a large growth that it comes into the IoT deployments in the different verticals. And in these verticals are the opportunities for the partners, the APC partners that we're working with today. The largest one being industrial, followed by government, and retail and healthcare and finance that are posing an opportunity for many of our partners, that our partners are able to engage in. So when you look at the different verticals and the opportunities, you can also separate that out into IoT products and services. So many of our partners have already been shipping IoT products for a while, and hardware itself is not something that is new to many of our partners. But services is the area where a lot of our partners can differentiate, can offer additional value when it comes to the deployment of these different IoT solutions and products. The services come in the areas of consulting, of the deployment itself, of support, of the integration, like systems integration. And as you can see from the data, there's a larger opportunity with the deployment of IoT in terms of services as compared to the IoT products itself, which is more or less the hardware reselling part. So I get this question asked quite frequently. So you are from APC, Schneider Electric. So what is it really that you're doing at the edge? What are your products and solutions? So here's an example for you that I'm going to talk about here for a minute. So let's look at retail. What is it at retail that APC can offer? So the simplest example is, think about a self-serving checkout and a smart app that gets connected, for example, for power backup. So this is something that is very common for us, kind of projects where we engage in quite frequently. But it's not just that. Of course, we can come in and provide a rack. But not just that, you could also think about a PDU. So we're looking here at a smart app, at a rack, and a PDU, and that in itself can already be an edge computing solution where we provide the infrastructure that our partners can deploy. Obviously, this stretches even further, as we provide also a software solution, a software as a service that is in the cloud that allows partners to manage customer environments remotely, something that is very valuable, especially during the current health crisis. But we also provide the services that our partners can leverage and resell as they're trying to service and manage these edge infrastructure environments remotely. So all of these things that you're seeing are the edge solutions and edge components that we provide to our partners to manage these customer environments. So when you think about IoT at the edge, the first one in retail could be the checkout. As you're buying your products, you can then self-serve yourself and leave the store. But obviously retailers think much more than just a self-serving checkout. You will see digital price tags being deployed, something that allows the retailer to manage pricing centrally. RFID tags to monitor where are certain goods that can be in the store or in a warehouse. You will see also the deployment of CCTV cameras for security reasons. Even more so at the self-serving checkout areas to prevent fraud. And ultimately, all of these solutions can leverage AI to improve the customer experience, to provide the customer, the retailer, with more insights into the behavior of their customers so they can provide services and goods in a much more efficient and probably or hopefully a higher revenue providing numbers. So next, I'm going to give you some of the reasons why we see IoT deployments for retailers. This is really key for our partners. So when you talk to a retailer about IoT, I wouldn't necessarily recommend starting off the conversation about just-in-time promotions. As you can see from the data that we're providing, that this is probably one of the areas where there is not so much concern from retailers. But retailers themselves are really concerned about supply chain optimization, inventory optimization, and surveillance and security. If you as a partner are thinking, what is it that you can provide to customers? You might want to focus on these three first points as you're starting to build out solutions to address customer requirements and customer needs. So these are the unique drivers for customers as they're thinking about deploying IoT, in this case in retail. And we have other examples, of course, for the other verticals. There are 5 areas today that we at Schneider Electric APC are really focused on, as we think there is a large opportunity. And it has to do with the fact that you will see a lot of branches in these 5 verticals. The first one, in retail, you can think about the fast food chains that exist. You might have seen some of the fast food chains changing the experience, in that when you enter the store, you don't have to go to a counter anymore, but you can self-serve yourself and do all of the ordering yourself, which allows a lot of the fast food chains to save on staff, perhaps be more efficient. And the data that they're collecting can be really valuable in terms of promotions, their supply chain, and how they're offering products. We're also working with a large jewelry chain, Danish, in India. They've decided to modernize their infrastructure, their IT infrastructure, and they've now deployed edge solutions in their stores. As they're modernizing their stores, integrating more cameras, and with the data that they're collecting about their customers, they've, for example, been able to shorten their supply chain by having a better understanding of their customers as they're tracking the demand in the store in real time and feeding that back to their manufacturing. And in terms of security, since in some cases you will see 150 or more cameras per store, they're also analyzing the data that they're capturing from these cameras in real time and using our infrastructure. In finance, for example, banking, you will see banks close down more of their branches and integrate automated technical solutions that consumers can leverage to do their banking business, where it's not necessary that you talk to a person and have to go to a counter and wait for a while. You can do your banking business perhaps in the branch at an automated teller machine. In other cases, we're working with banks where they're changing the layout of their stores. If you think about when was the last time you went to a bank and how often do you use mobile apps to do your banking, of course this has an impact on the foot traffic that banks will see in their branches. What does it mean for them in terms of their customer retention and attaining customers? So in this case, we're working with a bank that has decided to change the experience of their branch in that they've integrated a coffee shop and also a co-working space to appeal to a certain demographic of society that is perhaps thinking about choosing their first bank or looking for opportunities to connect with others. So banks are really thinking about how they can change their experience for their customers. And we are here working with these banks and providing our infrastructure as they're modernizing their offerings. When you think about healthcare, and especially these days, data analysis is quite important. There's a lot of data being captured also by hospitals, by healthcare organizations, and for example, due to government regulation, a lot of the data is not actually allowed to be stored in the cloud, but needs to be analyzed where it's being collected. And you need secure solutions to allow to do that. This is where we come in and work with health organizations or hospitals that are looking at integrating new solutions that allow them to monitor patient health and their equipment in a much more modern and efficient way. For education, we're working very closely with schools and universities as they're deploying more IT for education with their school kids and students. All of that infrastructure, of course, needs to be monitored and up and running, because if there's any downtime, when the students, staff, and the teachers are relying on that IT technology, downtime can prohibit them from doing what they need to do. So having the insights into the health of their infrastructure by using our EcoStruxure IT obviously provides them with the potential solution to avoid downtimes, or if there's a problem, to then quickly solve that. And lastly, with government, you will see new solutions being deployed by different government institutions that, for example, in this case, you see where you can renew your ID without having to go to one of the branches and perhaps wait for quite a substantial amount of time to just renew your ID. We have certain biometrics that are being collected from a civilian. A person can then, for example, renew their ID and be done with their business in a very short time. In other cases, we're working also with city governments as they are deploying new IT infrastructure that allow them to look at the traffic, collect traffic data, and be more proactive in their management about traffic in a city. This is where our infrastructure comes in with the micro data centers that allow them to do just that. And this is the point where I'm now going to hand it over to my colleague Kiran, who is going to talk to you about the different applications of Edge and also the offerings that we have.
Hello everyone, I'm Kiran. I manage business development for Edge and Rack Systems in International. You've just heard from Oliver on the emphasis on digital transformation and the new technologies which have been adopted by our customers to enhance their customer experience or increase their operational efficiency and security. Edge may introduce environmental challenges because these spaces are originally not designed for IT equipment. For example, in industrial harsh environments, there are challenges around temperature control, dust, and sometimes even water. And the access restrictions might be pretty different. The second scenario you can see here is the commercial and office environment. Typically like a hospital, bank branch, or a typical office space where you have people sit beside an IT environment and work. So the access restrictions and the dB levels or the sound levels have to be different. Last but not the least, a traditional IT environment where these are purpose-built spaces for as a networking closet or a telecom enclosure, originally designed for a very different application, and ensuring adequate power, security, and monitoring of these devices is very important. So these are common challenges which we see across all these multiple segments. When we check with our customer on their top challenges when it comes to deploying IT at the edge, they have mentioned physical security as one of the biggest challenges, because anything to do with cybersecurity, physical security is a must. You can see there, as per the research, 29% of the data breaches are due to physical security. A lot of CIOs in the research have mentioned, personally, they feel it's very important to physically secure their IT gear in any of their branch office or remote office locations. The second challenge which they have mentioned is on the deployment. A lot of these companies grow when they try and expand. As per a recent research from Gartner, they have mentioned that by 2020, this year, 75% of the enterprises will face some skill gap or infrastructure challenges in their environment, which means that due to this new adoption of technologies, what we just discussed, the team in these organizations have to really care up. This is a big challenge, 75%. If you take this data in 2016, it was less than 20%. And now the prediction has gone up to 75%, which is a big risk. Last but not the least, they have also mentioned about the management, because as and when they grow, they pick up whatever is available in the market and deploy. Management becomes pretty tough. And the IT staff in these enterprise organizations have been maxed out already. In the recent survey done in US in 2019, it says that the top 25 stressful jobs, IT manager's job is one of them. Okay, so it is very important for them to make sure that they have enough resources, skillful resources, who can actually manage and make sure that the business continuity is in place. How do we overcome these challenges and ensure that the customer's business activity is smooth? Schneider Electric Data Center Solutions portfolio have been classified into 4 different quadrants: EcoStruxure Micro Data Center, EcoStruxure Row Data Center, EcoStruxure Pod Data Center, and EcoStruxure All-in-One Modular Data Center. When it comes to edge, EcoStruxure micro data center, EcoStruxure raw data center play a very significant role. Let us take an example of EcoStruxure micro data center. EcoStruxure micro data centers can be pre-integrated, pre-qualified with the reference architectures and designs which are already available. Most of these designs are pre-qualified and approved by leading IT vendors like Dell, HP, Lenovo, and Cisco, and many more. So we can actually use these EcoStruxure S series, C series, or R series, whichever the customer would like to deploy, respective to their environment and use cases. Our partners can leverage these best practices, pick up the necessary IT compute required for the solution of the customer, and pre-integrate it and deploy to a customer site with a plug-and-play architecture. There's one more key element in the entire EcoStruxure data center solutions portfolio. All of these solutions are manageable, configurable, and fast and flexible to deploy. Okay, so please do try and leverage all of these solutions.
Certainty. It means reliability, dependability. It's confidence that you have the support you need to ensure certain transactions, certain rewards, certain connections. It's having information at your fingertips when it's needed most, and assurance that what is behind this is simple, predictable, dependable. Certainty lets you act with conviction, so you can provide your customers with reliable digital experiences. Certainty. That's the promise kept by EcoStruxure Micro Data Center.
Let me give you a quick snapshot on our latest innovation, which is our EcoStruxure Micro Data Center 6U. It's a low form factor design, as you see it on the screen, which helps you provide IT to your customer, which can be pre-integrated, pre-configured, delivered to a customer for a plug-and-play solution.
Introducing the innovative new 6U wall mount EcoStruxure Micro Data Center from Schneider Electric. Eliminate your IT closet and allow edge computing and networking equipment to be deployed almost anywhere. Our unique low-profile design allows heavier edge servers, networking equipment, and UPS to be safely placed high up on a wall, freeing up valuable floor space and out of reach of physical security threats. Additionally, our replaceable dust filter and integrated fan ventilation allows the 6U wall mount micro data center to operate in dusty and light industrial environments, such as storefronts and warehouses, as well as office environments and traditional IT environments. Using our best-in-class tools, you can quickly configure the EcoStruxure Micro Data Center to include a wide range of capabilities, such as premium power protection with our APC SmartUps battery backup products, advanced security options with our APC NetBots offer, and remote management and services enabled by our next-generation DCIM platform, EcoStruxure IT. Finally, all of these capabilities can be pre-integrated at our factory, allowing quick and easy deployment on-site. EcoStruxure Micro Data Center from Schneider Electric.
Wow, isn't it exciting? Our 6U Micro Data Center offer can help our partners and customers to deploy micro data center space with an increased speed. What you see on the screen is one example of finance and banking. Okay, you can see that due to the emphasis on digital transformation and other new technology adoption by our customers, these segments or applications which are outside the data center are getting influenced majorly, like the bank branches, ATM machines, the space around them, office buildings, and traditional networking closets. So you can use our micro data center C series or S series, which are leveraging soundproof enclosures or rugged enclosures or even passive cooling, to deploy IT space with an increased speed with the help of our compute partners like Dell, HP, Cisco, Lenovo, and many more. Thank you very much. Now I pass it back to Oliver.
That was very interesting. Thanks so much for sharing your views and your knowledge around our offer and the Edge application. So we've come almost to the end of our little workshop and presentation today. Thank you so much for your attention. I know there's a lot of information that we shared with you, and I hope it's very useful for you as you're, hopefully, as a next step, starting to plan and formalize a strategy. So when you think about digital transformation and IoT, and you understand what we have shown you in terms of the opportunities, the next step would be for you to then think about what it is in your business that you need to do to capture these opportunities. Obviously, there needs to be a strategy in place. What helps here is to understand your customer needs and your experience working with certain verticals. With that knowledge at hand, you could then start to plan an offer and specialize around the needs that some of your customers might have. To be able to engage in these digital transformation, IoT, and edge computing projects, of course, your staff needs to have the right knowledge, or you will need to hire additional staff that can help you run these projects. Once that is in place, you can then operationalize your offer with the knowledge of your staff and start to plan to go after these projects. As you're then starting to talk to the customers around these new offers that you have, it'll be important to think about whether you want to have a lot of projects or if you want to focus and really deliver on quality. Of course, quality is one of the most important aspects, even in your daily business, and you're really well aware of that. From my own experience having run IoT projects, I sometimes have taken on too many projects at once. So my learning is really to focus, especially when it comes to the beginning of running these projects on quality. As you learn from these projects, and you will be able then to transfer that knowledge, these learnings as success stories across other customers and other verticals. Replicating on the basis of your knowledge and experience in having run these projects will allow you to run more projects and talk to more customers as you're trying to be successful in the new opportunities around digital transformation and IoT. Edge computing is here to stay. It's definitely not going to go away, probably even accelerating during the current health crisis. Again, thank you so much for your attention. We hope that the content that we delivered for you today was interesting and valuable. Please do reach out to your channel account managers in the countries and in the region and ask them how we can work together with you on capturing these new opportunities in the digital world. Thank you.